This video is sponsored by Grovemade. Definitely the best headphones I've owned up to now, but here's the thing. Before you guys kill me, there's no cinematic this week, and you know what? Just let me show you. Ta-da! A Discord channel for creators and for you guys. Now, Joe Knows Best and I decided to create a tech culture channel. It's really interesting because we're bringing a bunch of creators in and also you guys. So we can eventually just hop on live streams and chats and voice chats and whatnot. So we can all just talk together and make friends. I feel like everyone's just very lonely in this world and this YouTube stuff. So why not just get together and, just talk some smack. We're also looking forward to have some super interesting people that work at Amazon, Google, and all sorts of programmers. So they're gonna be contributors to this whole thing. By the time this goes live, if the server is open to the public, there will be a link in the description down below. If you guys are interested in joining, well, let me know in the comment section down below. Other than that, honestly, I just hope you guys really enjoy the video and also giveaway somewhere in the video. I feel like I'm always going through tech all the time. Every once in a while, I find insane stuff online and always find ways to make sure I can get my hands on them. Quick FYI, this here is my condo setup, a setup that is currently being used to hop back on iOS development with my MacBook Pro. I also take calls here, listen to music, learn DaVinci, and browse the web. It's my Zen space, and it's the space I've been using these 10 desk setup accessories. Okay, so I live with my girlfriend, and this office is about 200 square feet, and so when I'm working, I want to make sure on my end I'm not really bothering her. Reasons why I got a mechanical keyboard with silent tactile switches. It's actually pretty crazy. This here is the Mode Sonnet, a keyboard I've been enjoying quite a lot. It's nowhere near as heavy as the one I have in this office because it doesn't have these brass components. Instead, this here has gold accents with a bottom gold cover, all wrapped around a nice silver aluminum casing with white keycaps. The font on these are awesome and they overall feel great on this hot swappable PCB. Yeah, a hot swappable PCB, just in case I want looped linear switches again. But look, internally, the PCB mounts in between a plate foam and a carbon fiber plate that encloses the switches. I went with carbon fiber because out of all the materials they offer, it's the one that sits in between the softer and firmer materials. It's like I overall built a quiet keyboard that can still deliver a more responsive feel because of the carbon fiber, but at the same time reduce finger fatigue because CF is not that firm. All this PCB sandwich rests on this silicone base intended for people who prefer a more muted sound. It makes the typing experience so much more relaxed, especially if I'm coding a lot. For me, this 75% custom mechanical keyboard is the perfect combination for when it comes to productivity, especially since it's not wireless and I get to pair this with a coiled cable I got from Amazon. Although I do wish the coiled cable was from Glorious Gaming, I highly recommend those instead. What I did get from their store is their latest Model O Pro in this beautiful golden panda color, so we can match the keyboard's aesthetics a bit more. However, as cool as it looks, I do have to say I'm a bit underwhelmed by it. The reason as to why I got this is because on my gaming setup, I have their own negative mouse, and since this has the exact same dimensions, a similar look, and now weighs 55 grams instead of 69 grams, I thought, why not just give this a try since I like the O negative so much. I mean, the design of this is lovely in my opinion. It has this rug material on its yellow shell, nice little details, and no RGB, which means that battery life is even better. And that is true. I get 3 to 4 weeks worth of use in this setup, but this is a controversial mouse, a mouse that never truly saw the right levels of quality control it deserved. Some people on the internet claim that theirs rattles, some shells seem to pop, other people complain about huge post travel, side clicks being awful, and so on. It seems like there are lots of people with issues when it comes to this mouse. Shout out to the brand though, they did address all of their issues within Reddit. However, luckily on my end, it really hasn't been my experience. I bought this from a local shop called Canada's Computers, and it seems to be holding pretty well so far. So on my end, I have no rattling, nor my shell popping out or my Kelk switches sucking. I really have been loving this mouse. I do think for the price they are charging, giving it the new BAMF sensor would have made sense, would have made this a bit more pro. But for my use, especially when it comes to the weight, its similar comfort to the O negative, and the battery life, it's ideal for me. I do like having a numpad because of my 75% keyboard. I'm one of those devs that doesn't have the need to use numpads, but I really wanted to give one a try, especially the glorious GMMK numpad. My issue is that this is a $120 numpad. Like, you can buy a full-sized mechanical keyboard for that price. Look, don't get me wrong, they offer a numpad with a layout like no one else out there. In fact, competitors like the Keychron Q0 Plus and the GK21 are also not that fairly priced if we were to compare this to them. This overall supports connections through USB-C and Bluetooth. It's small enough that it's super portable. It has RGB, an aluminum frame, ABS double shut keycaps, an encoder paired with a slider, and a software that goes very well with it. Basically a software that overall allows you to control its lighting effects, the ability for remapping keycaps, setting num lock indicators, setting profiles, and so on. But this is where for me I sort of start regretting my purchase decision. First of all, Glorious Core is only compatible in Windows OS, offering only a single Bluetooth profile. It's also insane that there isn't more functionality controls for the slider and rotating encoder when it comes to apps like Lightroom and Premiere. Battery life is also not the greatest. I think for me this lasts like a day or two, and key binding is not the best in a way that even when it comes to remapping keys to letters, it completely overwrites the key regardless of whether or not numlock is active. But look, to be fair, as a whole, for Windows users, it can be a good board, especially with the ability to have 3 layers that are remappable. And to be honest, this is not meant to be a board like my Blackmagic or Monogram controller. At the end of the day, it's still a numpad with a great hot swappable board, factory looped switches with 45 grams of actuation force, silver stabilizers that sound and feel great, and an aluminum plate that sandwiches some foam and its PCB. So really, it's a solid board. However, I feel like $80 would have been like the sweet spot. And because I've been enjoying this quite a bit, I will be giving my black version away to one of you guys. All you need to do is to subscribe to the channel, comment down below what you do for a living, and leave your Instagram handle within your comment. All of this stuff sits on my wool felt deskpad made by Grovemade. A couple of months ago, I actually finally partnered up with them. It's a brand that I honestly see a future with, and I genuinely like their products, which is why I try to bring them back as much as I can. Recently on this desk, I've been rocking their wool deskpad with their leather and maple mousepad to give some contrast. It's something that eventually led me to want to add more maple colored accessories. On a desk, the best thing you can do is add such colors to really make things pop. A good way of doing so is by adding coasters, notebooks, matching accessories like their silver notepad and titanium pen with their maple stand. If you're having trouble decorating and especially bringing accessories that make sense, Grovemade is definitely a good solution. I wanted to show you how some of the stuff I've had for like 3 years have aged. This year's the first wool felt deskpad I got from them. The material feels like new. You can still see that the felt and the wool is still very much present and intact, and it's not a material that shrinks or bends awkwardly with time. The same material is present within their desk shelves, a shelf that I've owned for like 2 years now. Earlier this year, I scratched it like really bad within my Samsung monitor review, which it was my fault, but as a whole, even though the sun hits this quite often, the color on this walnut has stayed the same. The same thing can be said regarding their walnut headphone stand and walnut pen cup, and their leather goodies like Jan's mousepad and wrist rest on his desk, something he uses day in and day out since he's responsible for this channel's editing. This is why I chose Grovemade to sit within most of our setups. I truly love their leather, their woods, wools, and wall shelves. Shelves that for us sit in our studio, used to sit in my old office, and now also sit within my condo office. I installed these a few months ago and I absolutely love them. In fact, I ordered more for my bedroom tour video. For me, honestly, it just all makes sense. I'm just a sucker for items that have really awesome materials to them. And this is why I begged AIAIAI to send me a pair of their TMA2 headphones. Okay, so Jan got these at first. I fell in love with them and I tried to steal them away from him. I didn't want to be there when he first unboxed these because I wanted to have my own little unboxing experience. Turns out that these come out of the box as a modular set, so basically in little packages that contain all the items that compose the headphone itself. For example, the ear cups, the speakers, the headband, cables, the wireless adapter, and so on. So yeah, a wireless adapter with headphones that have suede ear cups and amazing sound quality. Now for audiophiles, these have a 16 millisecond latency when paired wirelessly. It hasn't been an issue on our end when recording voiceovers, but I've heard that for DJs with a booth monitor that's physically connected with practically no latency, it can be a pain. Apparently you'll sort of hear percussions doubling each other at times, but that's just not my experience. My experience has been rocking these within my setup for editing, consuming content, coding, listening to music, and so on. All of this wirelessly. Now, AIAIAI do sell different speaker units for your headphones, which is why it serves them well to have these headphones as a modular device. My speaker units are the SO5 detailed sound. These are engineered with a 40mm speaker diaphragm that focuses on more defined high frequency details, a more pronounced mid-range, better dynamics, and a more natural tonality. And when you put these on at first, that's exactly what you get, especially the high frequency details. Things feel so clear with whatever content you are consuming, and if that's not the vibe you are going for, well, you can always get different types of drivers with different materials composing them. Honestly, overall, it's been a very comfortable pair of headphones. Buttons are intuitive, with some of them being the volume buttons, power buttons, a wireless and Bluetooth switcher, and so on. A note Jan wanted to add is that if you do forget to turn these off when paired wirelessly, the next day they will literally be dead. So you'll need to charge these quite often via USB-C if you do forget to turn them off. Now, like these headphones, I also wanted to try new speakers. I've been dreaming of having Rokit speakers, and finally I got the Rokit 5 G4 speakers for my setup. My biggest pet peeve with these was that they do come separately, meaning I had to buy one unit at a time. However, once you realize that they separately come with their own EQ display, you quickly forget about that. I did see online that people call these the amateur home studio speakers, and I wasn't too sure what that meant. Before getting them, I took a look at Audio Haze's video review on these, and he very much convinced me to pull the trigger. I was able to set up the bass to my liking, since these do seem to come out of the box with a tamed bass, meaning that the bass doesn't overwhelm the midtones and high tones, overall making them sound fantastic out of the box. In fact, way more clear than my Audio Engine speakers. After using my Audio Engine's A5 Plus for like almost 4 years, I've been wanting to try these iconic Kevlar cones and yellow drivers that KRK uses, and up to now I can honestly say that I'm super happy with them. Note that they are super easy to set up. You just need a couple of TRS to XLR cables and connect them to an audio interface like my Rode AI1. This allows me to connect them to my MacBook, control the volume through one knob, and have a more stable audio setup. When it comes to lighting, I think I finally found the ultimate lighting strips, although at a crazy ridiculous price. The thing is, I don't think there are any light strips like this on the market, especially gradient ones with this much brightness in them. I installed this within my setup a few months ago, and up to now, I've been loving them. They are fairly long, so if you have a short desk, you might need to wrap these around. Else, if they are too short, you can always get extensions for these. But the fact that I can connect these to my Hue app, create sick gradients, and have precise colors is a huge plus for me. I know Govee offers a lot for your money, but some of the colors within my girlfriend's setup are starting to wash out. Like, white is not really that white. It has this weird green and then translates to purple as well. Proper shades of orange is also super hard to get to. You sort of need to play with the app to get a proper color. And the intensity of the light is not as strong as the Hue strips, which is why I think the Hues are much better. However, unlike Govee, these only have 3 dimming zones across 2 meters. Overall, it really isn't that much, but I just rather give that up and make sure I get proper colors and a reliable app to work with all of the other Hue accessories I've got going on. And no, this little wall light is not from Hue. I do wish it was, but it's not. Unlike the Hue Gradient Strip, this here is actually crazy affordable. This is my latest addition to the setup, and it's a wireless magnetic mountable light that's chargeable through USB-C. It features 4 different levels of brightness with a single tap and 3 types of color temperatures by holding those tabs. I got to 3M tape its mounting bracket to my pegboard, and so I can create a little cast of light over my desk. This desk accessory here is one that's very much worth it, and I am honestly thinking of getting a few of them for the office and maybe even for my kitchen. What I was also thinking of getting was a new webcam. However, Belkin was kind enough to send us this iPhone mount for the MacBook. This, along with macOS Ventura's continuity camera, is what us MacBook users needed. On my end though, I will be completely transparent with you. It's not the final product that will be staying here. I am waiting for their Belkin iPhone mount for desktops to come back in stock. I rather use that to mount my iPhone on top of my main display. It'll make features like desk view make a lot more sense in my case, but the fact that I will be able to mount this on top of my monitor to get center stage, desk view, studio light, and even portrait mode thanks to this little adapter is unbeatable for me, and probably the best camera you can get if you're already an iPhone user and a Mac user. It also just makes it super easy for you to show things around your office if you ever need to do that. Now, my current MacBook setup sits on this Ergonofis folding stand in cherry wood. This here is a height adjustable laptop stand that's actually made locally here in Montreal. It's made out of a solid wood and it's super easy to transport. In fact, it came with this nice little wall carrying case, so in case you need to go to the office and you really like your stand at home, you can always just bring this with you at all times, which is exactly why I got one for my girlfriend's desk setup. A setup that I will be coming back to in the next few months. I know this video is super expensive, but these are items I feel like I had to come back to, especially since I wanted to spend some time with them after I had built my own desk setup. I feel like I owed you guys this video because a lot of questions were left unanswered within that makeover, especially regarding some of these items. I have some very interesting videos coming up this month. Hit the notification bell so you guys know what's coming out, and I'm going to go back to my iOS development schedule. I'll see you guys next Sunday. Take care. Peace.